Konnichiwa, minasan. Watashi wa Julian desu. And today, I'm going to tell you guys about the resources I use to study Japanese. I'm going to break this down into two different categories. The first category is books. The second category is websites and apps. Let's start with grammar. The first book that I use for grammar is called Basic Japanese, and it's the second edition. This purple pink book right here. Basic Japanese is really good as an integrated workbook, so it includes grammar points and allows you to practice along the way. For example, as you can see, there are vocabulary here, as well as practice space down here. As you get to a more advanced level, I would definitely suggest the Contemporary Japanese Workbook. I personally have not used it yet because I am not to that level, however I have heard it is a very good resource. As you can see, there is an audio CD in the back, so that way, as you go through the book, you're able to get a little bit of listening practice in. This workbook has plenty of space for practice. If you prefer bite-sized grammar lessons, then I would definitely suggest the Essential Japanese Grammar book. Essential Japanese Grammar is an amazing resource because whether you are a self-learner or you learn in the classroom with a teacher, you can find all kinds of uses for the grammar that's included in this book. Now, if you're planning to take the JLPT N5 exam, one book I would definitely suggest is the JLPT Study Guide. It will go through all of the grammar and the vocabulary that you need in order to pass the JLPT N5. One of my oldest favorites is definitely the Japanese from Zero series. Here is book number 1. Book number 1 was absolutely adorable. Every little bit of this book was absolutely essential to my Japanese learning. What Japanese from Zero does is it teaches you hiragana and katakana throughout the book, and slowly as you start to learn the writing system a little bit more, instead of having the romaji for it, it then puts in the hiragana or katakana for that. As you can see, I also have books 2 and 3. I believe there are about 5 or 6 of the books. I'm not completely sure on that, but I will be dropping that link below as well. Now, we are on to kanji practice. My first favorite book is Japanese Kanji Made Easy. Japanese Kanji Made Easy uses pictures in order to help you remember each individual kanji. Unfortunately, there is no practice space as you can see, however they do go very in depth in the meanings. My second favorite book to learn kanji is Japanese Kanji Power. Japanese Kanji Power definitely has a practice inside of it and makes it a little bit more extensive than the previous book. As you can see, there are plenty of ways to practice, whether it be writing the individual kanji or writing sentences and meanings. If you are fairly new to the Japanese writing systems, I would definitely suggest Japanese Kanji and Kana Workbook. In the beginning, it starts out with hiragana. And then, as you go further on, you start to get into katakana. And then, after that, you will start to learn tons of kanji. So many kanji. In fact, I believe a good portion of that book is mostly kanji. So once you learn hiragana and katakana, you will have plenty of resources to learn tons of kanji. Another good book for writing system beginners is the Learning Japanese Hiragana and Katakana, a workbook for self-study. This book does not go over kanji, however it does go over hiragana and katakana and helps you get plenty of practice in. They also give you example words for the different hiragana and katakana characters. As you can see, plenty of practice space. But should you need more practice space, I would definitely suggest getting a boxed-like graph-type notebook. That helps me a lot. When you're ready for a little bit more kanji, then I would definitely suggest the Japanese Character Writing for Dummies. It has 105 kanji for you to learn, so that way you have plenty on the side. This last book I have not really started out with yet, so I can't say for sure that it's a good quality book. However, I am going to be starting on the Learning Japanese Kanji Practice Book Volume 2. A lot of these writing system books are made by Tuttle, as you can see in this one, and this one, as well as this one, and this one. If you want a little extra book to help you with Japanese particles, I would definitely suggest All About Particles. This book is absolutely adorable and an invaluable resource for anyone who's learning Japanese and wanting to learn it extensively. The very last book series I would recommend is called Genki. Genki is an absolute lifesaver. Ask anybody who uses Genki and they will tell you that it is an absolute necessity to your Japanese learning experience. Here are Genki 1 and 2, which as far as I know are the only 2 Genki books that they have out right now. What I am studying with is the 3rd edition. Now for book 1, I have all 3 editions, which is completely unnecessary and you do not need to do that. I would definitely suggest going for the 3rd edition, so that way you have the most recent and updated one. Along with Genki comes their matching workbooks for 1 and 2. If you are hoping to take the JLPT N5 exam, you can definitely get through most of the grammar that you need to with only Genki 1. For the N4, you can go through Genki 2. Genki is definitely my #1 choice in terms of books because there's just so much you can learn from it and they present it in such a creative way. For every single chapter they have a dialogue as well as a vocabulary list. They present the grammar points in very easy to understand ways. Here is a chapter 1 dialogue. Below here they have it in the English translation. Here is a chapter 1 vocabulary list. As you can see, they break it down into very easy to understand sections. Here you can see that the grammar points are numbered, so that way you can see each one and go back and refresh yourself on them. That's all I have for the books. Now I'm going to move on to the apps and websites. One website that really helped me out with grammar was called Memrise. Memrise lessons are very largely created by the community themselves, and so many people would share things across the platform. So if you see like a lesson, it'll be sometimes vocabulary, sometimes grammar, depends on what you're looking for. Another favorite resource that I love to use in terms of apps for learning Japanese is Quizlet. And I'm sure you've all heard of Quizlet at some point, but Quizlet is an absolutely amazing resource. Quizlet is a lifesaver. You can create your own study sets, or you can look up and see if anybody else has created a study set already for what you are learning. I will also be dropping my Genki study sets into the description below. If you are learning the writing system, the hiragana and katakana, I would suggest Kana Drill. Kana Drill is an amazing app, very straightforward and easy. They do have ads, so every time that you mess up, every 5 times that you mess up, you have to watch an ad, which for what you're getting, it's completely worth it. Another app I'm sure you've all heard of is called Kahoot. Kahoot is used in a very similar way in which I use Quizlet. I use it to test myself. If you are learning kanji, especially for the JLPT exams, I would definitely suggest an app called Kanji, with an exclamation point. The very last app that I will tell you about is an app called Italki. Italki is astounding, to say it in the simplest word possible. I am currently studying with a teacher named Goma and another teacher named Aki. Goma is helping me get through Genki 1 and 2 before the beginning of October. Italki is an amazing app because they are extremely affordable and you will have no problem among the many teachers that are on there finding the teacher that is right for you. However, if you want my advice, I would definitely suggest booking Goma or Aki sensei. They are super sweet and have helped me so much along my journey. I could go on for ages about Italki. I have loved it so far in the month that I have been using it, and it's something that I will definitely be using throughout my trip while there. You also have about 3 trial lessons so that if one teacher doesn't work out for you, you still have 2 other 30-minute trial lessons to continue looking for someone that might be right for you. There is probably no app that I would suggest more than Italki, but maybe I'm a little bit biased because I really love Italki and I love my teachers. I'll stop there for today since I could be going on and on about the different resources that I use and how much I love every single one of them. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell so you can get updates about future videos. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Mata ne!